Welcome to the Cricket Betting Podcast. I'm Ed Hawkins. This is the podcast which tells you exactly what happens in the biggest cricket matches around the world, and we tell you how to win money on them. We've got three belters. Our best bets for those games come at the end of the show. We are plus 27.71 on the best bets for 2026. We're brought to you by 7bet.co.uk, a fresh sports betting brand that offers such features as early payout, bet builder, ACCA boost, betting insights, and more. Go to 7bet.co.uk and experience world-class betting for yourself. Let's say hello to Paul Krishnamurti, responsible for plus 16.78, 2 out of 2 on his best bets last week at 5-4 and 15-2. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Ed.
And let's say hello to Richard Mann of sportinglife.com, who's responsible for plus 10.93 of those best bets profit for the year. How you doing, Richard?
Yeah, I'm good, Ed. How are you?
I'm good. Winners coming out of our ears all over the place, not just on the podcast. You can sub up to our VIP channel for exclusive bets to your device every single day on every single live game. Absolute avalanche of winners over this week. It's just been too easy, really. It hasn't been fair. But we never feel sorry for the bookmakers. Get subbed up to that VIP channel in the comments below. You'll be absolutely mad to miss out what is on this episode of the Cricket Betting Podcast. As I said, we are warming up with three matches to the T20 World Cup. It's Pakistan versus Australia, South Africa versus West Indies, and Sri Lanka versus England. For those three games, we've got the best bets, the teams, strategies, trades, pitch reports, player win rates, player markets, a couple of very big numbers to follow on the players this week, so don't miss those. But as we are warming up to that T20 World Cup, starts Feb 7, I think, our big preview show with all the key angles comes next week. So put that in your diary. We're going to start with the T20 World Cup. India favourites, of course they are, 13-8, priced up, stand out. 4-1, Australia generally. South Africa 13-2, AK bets. England 13-2, star priced up, Bres bet. New Zealand 14-1, star. Pakistan 20-1, star sports priced up, Bres bet. West Indies 25s with the same three firms. Afghanistan 30-1, AK bets. Sri Lanka 40-1 generally. Rich, we're not going to give our game away too early because the big preview show will land next week and loads of work to do on the research before then. But what's sort of catching your eye at this stage?
Well, if you'd have asked me 2 months ago, I would have been very keen on South Africa. Won the World Test final. They were runners-up of the last T20 World Cup. They were very close to winning work. The great final with India. But I'm not overly keen on the squad that they've picked at the moment. Put me off a little bit. And it's got me leaning towards Australia. I mean, they've got players coming into it who are hot from the Big Bash. That's a plug for our excellent Big Bash VIP tips over the last few weeks. But, Mitch Marsh, Perth Scorchers, brilliant form. Stoinis will be another one. Travis Head is fresh, having had a brilliant, missed the bash, but had a brilliant Ashes. I just think their batting in particular is coming together. They've won a 50 over World Cup in India, they've won a T20 World Cup in Dubai, and it's Australia, and they generally find a way, don't they? So you're looking for value alternatives against India. I suspect we'll all try at the very least to do that. And at the moment, I'm leaning towards Australia. I will say I think this next week is crucial. A lot of these series, warm-up series, and I suspect we'll get some changes to squads somewhere along the way. So plenty still to ponder, but that's the way I'm leaning at the moment.
Yeah, Australia squad churn even from that series against Pakistan. So Cummins and Hazelwood not involved in that, but coming back for the World Cup. We'll talk about that in a bit. Paul, I mean, India are the team to beat. Rich, thinking about ways to get them beat against New Zealand as we record. I mean, just the batting is absolutely insane that what they're doing. They're just taking the game to another level, aren't they?
Yeah, look, you can't pick any holes in their chance. All I would say, I've got to say, I feel like we've had this conversation before ICC tournaments recently, and I'm going to say the same thing again. The point about back in India is you're betting that
at these prices, you're betting that they don't get in trouble somewhere in a big game, right? And we know cricket isn't like that, right? If you're betting them 13-8 to win the title, right? Let's just say there is the slightest bit of doubt they're not going to get through the Super Eights, and that's a price you're in trouble. Let's say go to the semi final and they lose the toss and they're a bit under it, right? It's going to drift to 13-8 in that match. So I think you've got to look elsewhere. And I'm just going to say what I say every time. Which is South Africa. I think that they are a great coming cricket team, cricket nation across all formats. They should be second favourites. And beyond that, to be honest with you, I'd rather back an outsider. I'd rather back a New Zealand or a Sri Lanka or someone to possibly sneak their way through the Super Eights with a bit of luck. But I think it will be India, and I think that if they stay apart in the draw, it'll be South Africa.
All right, well, we'll tell you in that preview show, which comes next week, who those sides are to follow at big numbers. We may perhaps uncover a trade for you. There are prices to make the final. India 4-6 was priced up, 13-8 Australia, 2-1 South Africa, for the last two, 5-2 England. I mean, people look, Rich, won't they, at those big numbers on Afghanistan. Are they going to be popular, or is that a bit of a mug bet about Afghanistan? I'm not sure this is their best format.
No, I'd agree. I'm not sure it is their best format. I feel like we do this every ICC tournament. I don't think they're in a particularly easy group, actually. South Africa, as Paul's just mentioned, Group D, and New Zealand are in there as well, who I don't fancy to win it, but are obviously very solid. Just in way of shocks, going back up to Group A, obviously India had their betting and that they're obviously going to cruise through. But United States are in there. They're in there with Pakistan. They're in there with Netherlands. I suspect they might go off second favourites for both of those matches. They've got previous in T20 cricket anyway. They've got some good players. I think if you're looking for match shocks, you might do worse than look at them.
Yeah, I'd imagine the Pakistan game will be one game against the USA, which we perhaps highlighted for a shock. Paul, I mean, it's not far off. It's caught up with us a bit because there's just so much going on. But it's going to be a belter, isn't it? It's 3 games a day until we get to the Super 8.
It's a bonanza. I love all this. I think I prefer the 50 over World Cup, of course, right? Because that's just perfect. But the multiple games per day and the smaller sides coming in, you very often find big angles with these lesser sides. You can spot an underrated batsman who hasn't had that many games, who's maybe like completely the wrong price, or a bowler who's much better than the rest, that kind of thing. And I mean, getting into those groups, I do think we'll have some fun. I do think we'll have some upsets. I think Rich's absolutely right. Group A is the one to look at. Pakistan, it's not going to be easy for them playing in India. Been through all that a million times. But these are the good outsiders, aren't they? America, very capable. Netherlands, pretty capable. They've pulled off upsets before. Even Namibia. Namibia aren't completely hopeless. I could see that game. I could just see India cruising through that with 4 wins. And it all getting very exciting, interesting with the rest. And again, you're right, Rich. That would be the negative about South Africa as well. That group is really the group of death, isn't it?
Yeah.
South Africa, New Zealand, Afghanistan.
Well, there will be blood in this T20 World Cup. I absolutely guarantee it. There will be a shock. There always is an upset in these ICC tournaments. We're going to get to the games in a second. Just time to tell you about the 0% margin feature at 7bet Sportsbook. The 0% margin feature is designed to offer the best betting odds that do not include the typical margin added by the bookmaker. Check out more of their features on 7bet.co.uk/features. And let's begin. It's Pakistan versus Australia Thursday, 1300, the Gaddafi Stadium. Prices with 7bet, 9-10 Pakistan versus 4-11 Australia. I'll give you the possible 11s for you before getting Richard's view on them. So Pakistan, Farhan, Ayub Babar Azam back in this team. Fakhar Zaman, Salman, Shadab Khan, Mohammad Nawaz, Fahim Ashraf, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Naseem Shah, Abrar Ahmed. There's no Haris Rauf in the World Cup squad, which is a mistake in my opinion. Fabulous form in the bash. Australia, Marshhead, Short English, Stoynes Green, Connolly, Dwarshus, Bartlett, Zampa, Kuhneman. For the World Cup, there's David, Maxwell, Cummins, Hazelwood to come back in. So very much second string. With picking Connolly because he is in the World Cup squad. Kuhneman likewise. Rich, happy with those 11s? Where are these two teams at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't envy you having to have selected those 11s. Just with the Australia, I mean, a lot of those guys actually played in the Big Bash final on Sunday, so it is a quick turnaround. I suspect Marshall will play being captain. Dwarshus for Sixers, maybe not. I'm not too sure. I think Pakistan look a lot more settled. That's about the only positive thing I have to say about them. You kind of know, I think they're top six now. But I think Australia are on the up. They play the game the right way. This is good ground for them as well. I mean, generally, we'll get onto it in a sec, but it's generally one for big runs, hitting, and Australia just look at power. You know, you look how they're set up, the top three, top four, they're all aggressive top order players out there. They're looking to score 200, 220 every time. I think this is a bit of an arm wrestle myself, and I think Australia will come out on top.
Let's have a look at those ground numbers then, and then we'll go straight to Paul, sort of our resident curator, I suppose. 16 of the last 26 floodlit matches at Lahore in T20 internationals won by the team batting first. This obviously is a floodlit match. 8.6 runs per over in the first innings to 8.1 in the second. Just to back that up, there's also more than 5 runs difference batting first. On terms of batting average to batting second, 139 and 110 last 2 first innings in T20I, but 190 or more busted 5 in the previous 9. Pakistan Super League in 2025, run rate of 8.8 and generally a bias for batting first 2. Paul, we know this ground well from PSL. What you got?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm going to say I'm ignoring PSL largely, or at least on the boundaries front, because I don't know if this is true or not, but I have a feeling that the boundaries were moved in for some of these tournaments for TV purposes. So I've just looked at the T20 internationals here. I'll tell you the instinct I've got, that I think the toss is really important either way. We've definitely seen series here where there was loads of dew and the chaser couldn't lose. And yet we've seen loads of others when there wasn't dew, where there's a big advantage to the defender. So this is a case, I think, of listening out for the toss largely on that front. I think it's a big advantage one way or the other. Regarding the runs and the sixes, well, interesting stat here. In the 17 T20 internationals, only 4 of them had 15 or more sixes, which is not that high. And I think we've had similar thing in the ODIs there. I think the boundaries are pretty big here. So it's a bad batting track. You'll get decent scores, but it's more likely to be 4s and 2s, I think, than 6s.
Alrighty, Rich, anything in the pitch swaying you to take on Australia odds against toss bias, maybe?
No, I honestly think no. I think Australia win the game. Just to emphasise what Paul said, this is a rapid outfield. That's another thing that you see scores going why they're so high. I mean, I just remember that Champions Trophy last year. God, it all goes by so quickly. I think Duckett made 100 there, and he wasn't necessarily blasting sixes, but he gets through the ring and it's gone. It's far. Rapid outfield. So I am in favour of runs, I must say.
Paul, who wins the match?
Well, rare point of disagreement here between me and Mitch. I'm all over Pakistan here. I think they're good value. I am not sold on Australia at T20. I'm not really sold on the Bash, to be honest with you. I think the Bash is an ordinary tournament. It's the same as the CPL or something, right? It's good, but it's not Indian Premier League standard or even SA20 for me. And they're going in cold from these conditions, aren't they? Right? They haven't played in subcontinent conditions for a while. And, you know, Pakistan have got many shortcomings, but they are a capable side. And look at their home record during the 5-year sample that I've looked at. They won 21 out of 33 home T20 internationals, and they've generally been against good sides. All the top sides have played there, apart from India. So for me, definitely in the first match in the series and with a potential top spice, I'm going with Pakistan at what we're saying, just shy of 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, potentially minimum sort of 12 overs of spin. Salman potentially as well might turn his arm over. And they could pick an extra spinner if they wanted Pakistan. A nugget from Richard.
Well, I'm just getting over Paul criticising the bash. I mean, I've never heard so much blasphemy in all my life. Anyway, Marcus Stoinis, what a big bash he had, and obviously Paul's just illustrated so wonderfully what a wonderful form guide that is. But look, Stoinis was in exceptional form. I think in 8 of his 9 last completed Big Bash games there was a rained off, but in 8 of the 9 completed, he made over 50 player performance points in 8 of the 9 games. Remarkable. Batting in particular, outstanding. At the moment, he's not priced up player performance, but later on you might just get the odd firm if you look about Virgin Bet MGM can sometimes go up late. So do have a look later on. Australia first dig, I think they could go bananas and make big runs. I really expecting big things from Travis Head actually. I like what he did, miss the bash. To get ready for this after the Ashes. He could have dragged himself there and played. I think we'll see good things from him in the next few weeks. And Sam Ayub, sorry, player performance. Sam Ayub, 22.5 is his player performance line with the flutter firms. That's just bonkers. I mean, He'd be bowling, yeah. I'm just looking at his last 9 appearances. He's beat that line 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So I think 22.5 is very low. I think he might open the bowling actually and try and go at Travis Head, the left-hander, but we shall see.
Just one thing justify my Big Bash theory, right? So the way I see it is the real giveaway for me is when the good players come in, right? When international players come in at the end. They're completely different class.
Well, Smith.
It's like they're playing in another league, right? And that says something maybe about the general standard. And also, we've had players in the last couple of years, Jake Fraser McGurk, for one, had a brilliant series. There was Sam Constas as well. And because of what they did in the Bash, the Australians got all excited and here's our new Warner, here's our new... And then they come at international level and they're not even close to being up to it.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think you are right. I mean, it's a rung below the IPL. What I would say is, though, I mean, Baba and Shaheen Afridi had their opportunity in the Bash and they came up short. But I mean, yeah, it's different conditions as well. But we could chew the fat about this all night, Paul. I think
we could definitely.
All right. Let's move on to player win rates, Paul, unless you've got another nugget or anything you want to upset Richard with.
No, I'll put it in the players bet.
All right. Let's talk player win rates. You just mentioned Babar Azam. He's back in this team. Don't know why. It's just not his format, but 30% win rate from 13. Struck at about 102 in the Bash. That's absolutely fine for top bats. We don't mind that. If he's just going to play for himself, he's not necessarily a bad bet. Nawaz with the ball, 22% win rate for Pakistan. You'll be definitely getting decent numbers on him for top bowler. Marsh, 29%. I see he's 10-3 with the flutter firms on top bat. Green has won 4 from 10. You can get 11-2 7 bet. Just a note on Zampa's up 1, only 2 from 20. Dwarshus winning at 50% in his last 10. You're getting 4-1 top bowler with the flutter firms. Richard, who are you betting?
Yeah, well, I mean, Stein has been chalked up at 14-1 by the flutter firms, top Australia bat. I mean, that to me just looks a wrong price. I don't know whether they use him as a finisher or he'll bat at 4 like he did for the Stars in the Bash, but I mean, given his form, and that a couple might actually just miss this. Inglis could easily just put his feet up for this, or Marsh might, he could have had a bad flight, so that's just way out. And I'd like to have Sam Ayub on side in some form. I mean, he's a terrific player. You could just back him top Pakistan batsman if you didn't want the player performance.
Paul?
Just one bet, quite a confident one. Sahibzada Farhan, 4-1 to score most Pakistan sixes. It's won 4 of his last 10 matches, including if you level out the ties. And he's got the highest average for the top order. And, to be honest with you, I don't see the openers should surely be strong favourites in that market, shouldn't they? because they get longer, more chance.
Yeah, Farhan's a really interesting player. Don't lose faith with Farhan. He may well go blank, blank, and then bang. That's just the kind of guy he is. So keep him in mind. Thank you. We are underway with our games. 2 more games to go. Best bets at the end of the show. Do get subbed up to that VIP channel in the comments section below. As I said, we are winning money. The PL tracker is there, about to be touching sort of around about 10%. You also get access to the VIP chat room where loads of betting chat takes place, not just on cricket, but great insights from the guys on there. It's a really popular spot. Let's move on to our next game, which is also on Thursday. It's South Africa versus West Indies, 1600 from Centurion. 7-bet prices, 11-3 on South Africa, 12-5 the Windies. We're recording on Tuesday, and West Indies have just lost their 18th game in the last 12 months from 26. Really poor side. South Africa are expected to line up like this if they keep faith with the 11 which just won. Pretorius, Markram, Rickleton, Brevis, Ruben Herman, Jason Smith, George Lind, Corbin Bosch, Rabada, Maharaj, Mafaka, Quinton de Kock potentially coming in for Pretorius because Pretorius is not in the World Cup squad. De Kock is in this squad for this series. Likewise, Stubbs for Herman and Smith, who aren't involved in the World Cup. Janssen, Nagidi, Nokia also in this squad, also in the World Cup squad. So we could see some churn at some point. So just bear that in mind. The West Indies, King Charles, Rutherford, Chase, Hetmeyer, Powell, Holder, Shepherd, Ford, Akil, Seals, asterisk by Ford, Akil, Shepherd, who could well be used at number 3. Shai Hope had an injury for the first game, so be surprised if he was risked. Paul, West Indies dominated by South Africa in game 1. Just, then a rally, in trouble early on with the bat. They were never in it with the ball.
No, I mean, there is quite a big class gap here, clearly. I've already said I can't speak highly enough for South Africa in a moment, and I'm not exactly known for praising the West Indies. All I would say is this is probably their best format, T20. They've got power. They've got players to hit anything, really, in a T20 match. Also, South Africa, as we've just seen in the SA20, is a really hard place to call before the match. It's so conditions based, isn't it? It's not out of the question that when this comes, West Indies win the toss and put South Africa really in overcast conditions, and they've got a fantastic chance then.
Richard, I'm a bit tired of West Indies actually, and wanting to get your thoughts on it. In particular with this messing around with the batting order, which isn't bad news for punters, but we often talk about West Indies, about this batting lineup and who are they going to promote this week. It was Ford who batted at number 3. It wouldn't have been inconceivable to many who follow West Indies that might happen. But isn't it just about time they just give their best batters the most time to actually bat? I mean, ridiculous. Powell batting at number 7 and Ford comes in at 3. I'm bored of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Frustrating. I mean, you can't have a solid wager on that top batsman market, can you really? Unless you have a solid wager on numbers 7, 8, and 9 at massive prices. But I'd like to see Shepherd get some more time. Actually, I said that in the New Zealand series a few months back, and then he blasted a big score down the order. Yeah, Paul, I know you've said for a while though you felt that there might be a side on the up, particularly in this format, the Darren Sammy factor. I'm not as down on the med as you are. I do think there's potential in the batting if they get it right, and not so much here maybe with no sheer hope, but I thought he was really good in the SA20, as was Rutherford was absolutely fantastic. There is potential there. I know we've been saying that for a while, but they have got the batting if they can put all the pieces in the right place.
Well, let's talk about that, Paul, in terms of pieces. We look at some of these players. These are all well-known franchise players. And that may sway people to think, well, this is 1 to 11. There's absolutely no weaknesses here. But then are we talking about players who perform well in low ball franchise leagues? I mean, Hope has done well in SA220, which we think is a high performing league. CPL more lower ranked. And the recent record by West Indies, do have to remind people, it's really poor.
Yeah, it is mostly in the lesser tournaments. But just to build on what Rich was saying there, I mean, Shea Hope to me is a genuinely world-class batsman in all formats now. He's a really good player. They're going to miss him here massively. Shafane Rutherford has developed into their best hitter, the sort of role that Russell used to play before. Akil Hussein's a solid spinner in this format, takes wickets with a new ball. The player I'd like to see more of is Shepherd. I mean, Shepherd, he gets the odd game here and there in IPL, and he's brilliant. And he really has, with bat and ball, he does a business. So I think it is more what you were saying before. It's continuity. They don't know their roles. I don't think many of them are sure of their places. I mean, even Rodman Powell. Rodman Powell's in and out the side a lot. And you think, what's going on there? Right? Moti doesn't always play. He's a good player. Shamar Joseph has been in and outside constantly, and he's a real prospect. So they have got potential. I don't think they're a terrible side. I think they're a better side, for example, than say Bangladesh, right? But they're more the sort of team that you want to back them at a price because they can pull off an upset somewhere. And that's this might be it. This might actually be the situation because South Africa is so conditions based and toss orientated.
Let's talk about the ground guide and potential conditions. RPO of 8.6 in that SA-T20 in 6 games at Centurion, 175 or more busted in 3 of those. There's only been 2 flooded T20 internationals in the last 5 years, though. Paul, what do you think about Centurion, and in particular, what are you factoring in from SA-T20, if anything?
Again, brain damage, because you look over the long term, this is the best ground for 200 plus and both to score 200 and 220s. The ball flies through the air, huge sixes average historically. But then if you look at this last season, it was 1-200 in the first innings, generally lost on every game apart from one, I think, on the innings runs. So it is a case of make your mind up once you see it. I mean, as I say, if you think that batting conditions are good, it's coming on, then the pitch isn't full of cracks and expected to turn sideways, then I think you've got to go for your 200s, your 220s, even your 240s and 250s, especially South Africa against this bowling attack. If they bat first in good conditions, you could get anything. But be wary of the conditions as ever.
All right. One thing that happens in the game, Rich.
I am a bit more positive about runs. I'd be backing both teams to score 170s, 5-2 with a flutter firms. I mean, look to Tuesday's game, for instance, at Pal. Although Pal has surprised us as well, which sums up the SA-20. But I mean, they were in big trouble, and they still scrambled their way to 170, didn't they, the West Indies? So I think they can make that 180s 9-2. But I think I'd just be playing it safe. Both teams to score 170 at 5-2.
Same question to Paul.
It's got to be sixes because they're not necessarily reliant on the runs being big here. I agree with Rich. I'm also going to do big one not both score 190, 200. But on the sixes front, it's 15.5 the line. You can beat 15.5 in a 160 game. And South Africa sixes over 7.5 at 4-5. If they bat first, you'd love to be on that, wouldn't you, against this Windies bowling attack?
Alrighty, let's look at player win rates. Top South Africa bat for you. Brevis, 5 wins in 18. And then a really massive number, a real surprise, 57% win rate on top bowler for Corbin Bosch. And I guarantee he's going to be underrated. And we can catch some bookmakers out with that one. For West Indies, still the best around. It's Shepherd, 33% win rate. That's from a massive 30-game study, so it's no fluke. A consistent winner and consistently underrated. What we're getting, I think, was 4-1 in that first match. Someone will go 4-1 somewhere, that's for sure. Hope winning at 26.9% top bat for West Indies. Powell, another one consistently underrated over a long study period now, winning at 24%. We were on him in the VIP at a massive 8-1. We probably won't get eights again, but we might get sevens. Paul, player fancies.
Okay, so we're just to say the first match has only just finished a couple of hours ago, so we're not everyone's priced up yet. But from what we've got already, look, there's no line for Corbyn Bosch player performance. But I know Rich was backing this before successfully in the Test series and One Day series. He's such a solid player, Bosch. Such a solid player for that. He's going to earn points on, bat and ball. So we'll see what line that is and maybe put that in VIP. Other than that, I'm looking at some of these top bat prices. And again, it's all West Indies. You got to take your pick, but not everyone's out. It's just Bet365. 25-1, Romario Shepherd. Craziness, right? 25-1, Jason Holder. He comes in at 5 sometimes. 150-1, Joseph. He's won the market before at least once. 250-1, Jaden Seals. Right? There is a very good chance that they're going to get put in here in, under lights and get bowled out for 100, and this market gets won with 21 or something. You've got to go with the outsiders.
Richard Mann.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've said it about Shepherd with the ball, but he would obviously be the one for the West Indies. I agree with a lot of what Paul said. I mean, just to go into a little bit more detail for those who haven't listened before, quite often what we've tried to do is just pick 3 West Indies lower order players that say 25s, 50s, and 100s, and not Dutch, and what's the word? Thrice them, if you like, and just go with that strategy. Because over the long term, particularly in the white ball formats, it's amazing how often it's paid. I suppose the hardest thing is just trying to work out who's actually going to bat 7, 8, 9 because it is interchangeable. But Ford has been in the staking plan before, and he ended at like 25s, 33s, and he batted 3 on Tuesday. I know he didn't win, but that has just been a long-term strategy. It might not pay off here, but I suspect come the World Cup, it'll probably cop in one of the games you'll hit the jackpot.
Thank you very much. We've got one game to go. It's Sri Lanka versus England. We'll get to that in a second. Just a little bit of housekeeping for you. If you want to get your access to the best cricket stats to make the best informed betting choices on cricket, get over to crickstats.ai. Use the code POD25 for a discount, courtesy of the Cricket Betting Podcast. Just really great stats. You can work out player performance markets. You can find the Ricks on there, on the top bats, on the top bowlers, on the sixes markets, which Paul was talking about earlier. Farhan, that's where Paul's getting those stats from. So go and have a look at that. Do sub up to that VIP channel. We will be filtering out some absolute belters for these 3 games as well as more firms get priced up. And if you could sign up to 7Bet, our partners, that would be useful, because the more people that sign up, the more chance that we come back consistently to produce this podcast for you. And I think we do provide you with some pretty good value. Don't forget those best bets at the end of the show turning massive profits, and they did in 2025. So we do win you money. Let's talk about Sri Lanka versus England. Friday, Pallekele, 5-4 Sri Lanka, 8-13 England with the flutter firms. Sri Lanka haven't even named their squad yet, as we recall, which isn't particularly useful. But pretty sure they go with Nissanka and Mishara opening the batting. Kusal Mendis, Dhananjaya, Solanka, Shanaka the skipper, Leonard, Hasaranga, Theekshana, Shamira and Patharana. England, Salt, Butler, Brooke, Bethel, Curran, Banton, Jacks, Rahan, Overton, Rashid and Wood. England since the last World Cup, 12 wins from 19. Sri Lanka have just 13 wins from 30, and at home they've only won 5 from their last 13. Richard Mann, is this rare value on England?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. We just look at that recent England record. There was a T20 series in Ireland there as well, wasn't there as well? So that skewers it a little bit for me. No disrespect to the Irish. It's about conditions for me, and I'm not 100% sure what we're going to get. We'll obviously discuss it in a second. Just going back to look, they struggled when it spun in those first two games. The third game, they won the series, brilliant, but it was a much different pitch. You could tell straight away the sound it made off the bat, and it comes down to conditions. I still think if we get a slow turner, they'll come unstuck.
Paul, do you concur that this is England's best format? I mean, it's not really much to beat considering what they do in Test and ODI.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the same token, I think it's probably Sri Lanka's worst because they don't have much power. In fact, go back to the World Cup, but I'm not ruling out England, which is not like me. I'm not known for backing England in big tournaments, but I could back them here. They've got power, and you have to take your hat off to them. Really, last couple of games. I thought they would be exhausted, demoralised after the Ashes, not used to the conditions, but they've done really well. They did really well on Saturday. I know the pitch was different today, but they did well there. And I would say Kelly, if memory serves, far more pace coming onto the bat there, far better for big scoring, big hitting than Colombo. So I think, yes, they're hot favourites, but then do you want to bet 8-13 in a T20 match? That's the dilemma.
All right, Kelly, night matches, only 5 in T20 internationals last 4 years, RPO of 8.47, 3 won by the team batting second. If we include domestic matches in that study, it's 17 with 10 won by the team batting second and 8.49 RPO, so pretty consistent. Sri Lanka versus India, a tied match with 137 the total. 28 out of the 40 overs of spin. That was in 2024. Bangladesh chased. I'm going to start that entire sentence again. Bangladesh made 154. It was chased by Sri Lanka in July. Richard, who wins the match?
I do agree that this is probably Sri Lanka's weakest format, so you would have to give England the edge. For all, I'm not as sold on them as I think you guys are.
Paul, I mean, you don't want to back an 8-13 chance. I mean, trades or strategies or something else entirely?
Well, look, I mean, I wouldn't put someone off putting the 8-13 in an ACCA. I really don't rate Sri Lanka in this format. But it's interesting getting back to sixes. This 8-15 with a one firm I've seen that's priced it up. You might get some 8-13 there. England to hit most sixes. That's probably better than winning the match. I mean, Sri Lanka are very, very low scoring on that front, and England are very high scoring.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about sixes at this ground, and at what stage do you sort of just in the idea that it might be a slow turner and it might be one to go under them because of what Sri Lanka do, but then with Brooks' form, what he did in that ODI, do you swerve or do you just stick to that long-term history?
Well, in those 5 T20 internationals, the highest was 12, which is not high for a T20. And I tend to find that is the same with Sri Lankan games everywhere. It's because of them. They don't contribute much. Again, the line's not out yet. Let's see where it is, but I could well see me putting something up here in the VIP here.
All right, Rich, one more thing that happens in this game?
Well, yeah, probably following on the same thing, but the Butler Salt axis up top, they're going to score quickly, pretty much regardless of conditions. I think we'll go hard at the new ball. So I'd like them. I'll see where the line is, but I suspect they'll probably be very close to beating the 6-over line, England runs line. They'll have the fastest first 6 overs as well. If you can get a bet on that, I'd probably bet that 8-13. They're going to score quicker than Sri Lanka in the first 6, aren't they, as well? So, do you remember that? I mean, remember that Old Trafford game last summer, don't we? They went bananas, and I suspect that's going to be the modus operandi up top all winter, really.
Paul, one more thing that happens.
No, nothing more to add, really.
All right, let's talk players. Nissanka, 36% win rate. These numbers are all from since the end of the last World Cup, so big old study samples. Hasaranga and Chimera, 33% each with the ball. Chimera will be underrated. Salt 31%, Butler 28% on top bats for England since the last World Cup. Nothing really much on the bowling side because such churn for England in terms of their bowling unit. But Luke Wood, 3 wins from 8. Just keep an eye on his performance lines. You might get 20.5, and I'm pretty sure that he'll be winning more often than not. Sort of 6 last 10, 7 last 10 on that one. Rich, please.
Player performance, you just mentioned it. Interesting to see where Sam Curran bats through the series because he's been bowling as well, probably bowl at the death. So anything sort of low mid 30s might do for Sam Curran. Butler's obviously very strong and been a good player performance winner for us in the VIP. So again, keep an eye on those lines. For Sri Lanka, Nissanka just looks really solid to me, in good touch as well.
Paul, you're a Nissanka fan. You backing him here or someone else?
Couldn't put anyone off in this anchor. Let's see what the best price is. The first show was pretty short, like 12 to 5, but yeah, very reliable. The one bet I like here is, again, we don't know the teams yet because they haven't announced the squad, but let's assume he's in there. Mahesh Theeksana, in 5 matches at Pallekele, he's been top bowler on his own 3 times and had a 3-way tie.
All right, Theeksana as well. Another one for performance bets potentially. 20.5. I think you'll be paying overs on Theeksana. Pretty convinced about that. It is best bets time. Both Paul and Richard have 5 units to spend. As a reminder, massive profits in 2025, massive profits in 2026 so far as well. And it's Richard Mann to go first.
Right, okay, I'll kick off then. Pakistan, Australia, 2 points. Sayam Ayub, over 22.5 player performance points at 5 to 6. That's with the Flutter firms. Same game, 1 point. Marcus Stoinis, top Australia batsman at 14 to 1. That's also with the Flutter firms. And then the South Africa West Indies T20, 2 points. Both teams to score 170 runs at 5 to 2. And you guessed it, that's also with the Flutter firms.
Paul Krishnamurti, please.
Okay, so I have 1.5 points. Sahibzada Farhan score most Pakistan sixes at 4 to 1. I'll have 1.5 points Pakistan to win at Betfair SP. In the South Africa game, I have half a point on both teams to score 190 at 9 to 1, and half a point on both to score 200 at 18 to 1. And then Sri Lanka, England, 1 point Mahesh Theeksana, top Sri Lanka bowler.
Alrighty, offer from 7bet as we are discussing our best bets. You can bet £10 and get a £10 free bet with 7bet by using the promo code WFB10. Minimum £10 stake, £10 free bet, minimum odds, even money, maximum winnings £100. 5-day expiry bonus, T's and C's apply. There we go. A reminder, get subbed up to that VIP channel in the comments below. Bets every single day to your device, and it's Paul, Richard, and myself working hard for you. All hours were available. Bets being posted all the time. The T20 World Cup preview show, the ultimate betting guide, will drop next week from the Cricket Betting Podcast. So don't miss that. It's a big one, and we'll see you then.